Green guidance for me is a way to bring into career guidance and counselling environmental concerns and to make people think deeper about them and develop their critical consciousness regarding what their relationship with the world and the world of work is.
I suppose green guidance has been a chance to sort of bring my own values a bit more into my work. So I think I've been a fairly committed individual when it comes to thinking about the environment, but like a lot of people, it's been really frustrating to try and feel like you're doing anything about it. And to be frank, if I reflect on a lot of my practice, a lot of it has been really just sustaining the existing power structures and ensuring that everybody gets on in the labour market. So this has been a chance to think, how do I do things differently, or how do I bring things up so that we can have a different conversation and feel better at the end of each day, maybe?
Green guidance is an area which we've been working on for a number of years, probably about 30, 40 years even, but it's really started to crystallise in the last few years. And it's really about thinking about how people make career decisions and take into account the environment and take into account the sort of climate crisis that we're currently experiencing. So I think one of the things that is important to say about green guidance is we don't expect green guidance to exist as a sort of separate activity which is separate from everything else. It's going to be integrated into career guidance, into careers education, and into lots of the activities that we're already doing in the education and employment systems.
Environmentally sustainable career guidance actually has 5 dimensions. An affective dimension, a social ecological dimension, an educational dimension, a transformational dimension, and a political ideological dimension. And it's very important that you connect with all these different dimensions because they will help you in the design of your green guidance activities.
My idea of green guidance is that it's quite important. I come from Norway, and we often find that people are a bit hesitant to deal with these big problems like social justice or climate change, because we're often very far away from the action. This is an issue that is very important to all of us. It's going to happen in Norway sooner or later. And we've seen that practitioners who are actually genuinely concerned with this issue, they find it hard to raise it in conversations. And often they'll meet, clients saying that in my area, we cannot talk about this because of the fish farming or the right wing, municipal government. So it's kind of, it's hard to bring up these issues. And well, basically, so we need someone who talks about it and writes about it and speaks up about it. And that is what career guidance does, and that is good.
For me, the only way to do career guidance and counselling is to integrate social justice issues. So basically, social, economic and political issues that constrain people's lives and jobs and their decision making. And of course, then you have to also consider the environmental conditions because they will be the future of our world and nature. And I think that's the only way to do career guidance and counselling. It's an ethical imperative to bring these issues into intervention.
We've been hearing a lot about some of the major problems that exist with the environment at the moment. I mean, it is very frightening and very scary. And so I think one of the things that's important is that we try and centre these concerns about the climate within the practice of all fields of work, I would say, but particularly in a field of work like guidance, which is about helping people to think about their futures, helping people to think about how they want to live in the world. And so I think if we can bring this in, I really hope that it can make a significant difference to the way in which the world goes forward, the way in which people think about their lives, and empower people to include their values in their career choices, to think about the consequences of their career choices, not only for themselves, but for the people around them and for the world around them. So I think it's a really important area of work, and hopefully in the Exploring Green Guidance project, we've given people some really good starting points as to how to move that forward.
I think neutrality is something that I hear about a lot when I talk about it with practitioners. And for me, one of the best tools that I come back to all the time is Tony Watt's socio-political typologies of guidance, which really invites you to think about where does your practice sit in terms of change? And if we can all agree that the world is not a fair place, which is quite an easy statement for us to agree with, then if our practice is sitting in a place where we're always reinforcing the existing structures, then that feels a little bit uncomfortable. And I think that discomfort is where you start to think, well, how might I move to a space where I'm trying to open up change or activize or help others to be activists? And in that regard, there is no neutrality. So you're already in a position where whatever you're doing, you're in some kind of position where you're trying to keep things as they are or maybe move them on in a different way. So I found that just super helpful to think about neutrality from that perspective.
I'm hoping that these issues will become a very natural part of every career guidance every career guidance conversation, because it is one of those things that's, it's going to happen to everyone. And at some point, everyone will have to think about it. And I think that it's really important that career counselors are ready for that.
My hope for the future of career guidance is that we don't necessarily think of green guidance as green guidance. We just think of it as a career guidance that we do with our clients that helps people respond to the labor market and helps them with their well-being and the planetary well-being. That is just sort of a normalized way of doing career guidance everywhere.